Welcome, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Approach Project podcast. This is your host, Laura Gutierrez, and today I am going to be interviewing a very special guest. Her name is Mariana Ardelean, and Mariana actually just launched her first book. The name of the book is Your Time Is Now, Claim Your Ultimate Potential. So Mariana is actually the founder of Empowering Strategies. She specializes in human behavior and potential. She's been in the healthcare industry for nearly 20 years. She's a success strategist, and she is also the creator of self-help programs. And we are going to be talking about a little bit of all of that, and about the book, of course, because the book brings to us, shows us different strategies to be able to live to our fullest potential. And this is what we want, because when we are living from that place of full potential, stress doesn't affect us the way it would, in a different situation. So welcome, Mariana. It's so nice to have you here, and thank you for saying yes to today.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here and be part of the community and share this message with you. It's my pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mariana. I should say that Mariana is in Melbourne, so that's why we are chatting over Zoom today. So, Mariana, let's start a little bit with, let's learn a little bit about you and about the book. Where did the title of this book come from? Your Time Is Now.
Oh, wow. It's been a few years in the making. And the name of the book comes from the idea that we must act now. If we want to change anything in our life, it's important to really take the time and do it now before it's too late, because nothing is going to change unless we are willing to change. And it does not matter at what stage of your life every single one of us is. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It's not too late to change if you want to make any changes in your life. At the end of the day, it's a choice. We got to make a choice, and we got to decide if something is not working. Even if you're 90 years old, it doesn't matter. You can still change something in your life. So
Yes.
It's like they say, when was the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago. When is the next best time? It's now. So that's the idea of the book. So it does not matter where we are and what stage of your life we are. What's important is what we want, what do we want to leave behind, and what do we want to be remembered for at the end of the day. That's what's really important. So that was the idea of the book. Start with the end in mind and then work backwards. And if there is something to change, then it's time to change and to make the decision and the choice to do something about it. That's how the book kind of came about it.
Yeah, I love that concept, because we definitely have an opportunity every single second, right? Every moment of our life is a new beginning, if we want to see it like that, if we choose to see it like that, as you were saying. And so, since you were talking about choice, I would love to ask you a little bit about that. What does it mean to have the power of choice?
Wow, this is a really powerful one, because I think most people get caught up in the day-to-day activity, and we live on autopilot, and we are conditioned to value material possessions, the house, the car, the clothes, the shoes, and by no means those things are not important, but most people go for external validation because that's what we think that we need to have. So, and we are conditioned to be busy and to keep busy and worry about what other things. And most of all, we think that we do things to fit in. So we are really conditioned to think that studying is important, and by no means I think studying is not important. It is important because I am here where I am today because I study. But it's placed more of an importance than other things like creativity or being able to dream or yes, so we are conditioned to really, and because we commit and we have these commitments, we've got loans and things, then we kind of get caught. And some people may feel like at 50 that they're kind of stuck. And unless we choose and we value ourselves and start to look at things from a different perspective, nothing is going to change. And that's, most people I think don't realize that they do have a choice. Yeah. Because, and to put yourself first. We put everyone else first, and I've done that myself for years, and that's really important, to care about others. But at the end of the day, we cannot pour from an empty cup. And unless we know what we want, how are we able to help others at the end of the day? Because we gotta really make the choices that's going to move us forward and get us to where we want. But some people don't feel like they've got a choice, don't think that they've got a choice. They think that, I'm in the job, I'm here, I'm doing this, and that's all they can see, because they don't see any other possibilities.
Yeah, and I think that's so, it's like a pain point for many people, just what you just said, that many people believe or think that they don't have a choice, that they cannot change the status quo, that they cannot change the way they were brought up, that they should just follow whatever else is doing or what they were taught to do. And so we end up living lives that do not align to what we really want to be doing or experiencing. So I think what you are saying and your proposal in this book, it's amazing, because I know it's nothing new, but at the same time, it's such a powerful reminder that we do have the choice.
Definitely, because if we're not questioning things and we just accept things for what they are, and then it means that we are compromising what's important to us, or we think that making the decisions to live a life on your terms every single day, this really empowers you to not consider that what others think, that you will be judged, that it's really a powerful thing to feel like you are making the decision, and it doesn't matter what someone else says, and they don't have to agree with what you're doing, as long as you feel that you're living the life on your terms at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. So, and we gotta choose to empower ourselves in all area of our life, the spiritual, mental, vocational, family, social, physical, because all these areas are important, and most people they don't feel like they do have a choice. That's what this book really came.
Yeah. I think there's another thing that you just touched on, and is many people don't know what they want, and therefore they might think, well, this is what I learned, so therefore I just have to follow this. So from your point of view, how can we find that out? How can we find what we want to be experiencing?
Well, we gotta start reflecting and start questioning, is this what we really want? Is this what I want to be remembered for? Is this what I'm here to do? And empower ourselves to look at things differently and take responsibility, because living a life of choice doesn't come without responsibility. It means you take responsibility for your life. It means you're accountable. You're first of all accountable to yourself. You're accountable to others. And it means that you don't make any excuses. You don't justify things that you do. You do things because you want them to do. You cannot blame others for your results or not results that you are getting, because if you start justifying and stuff, you're not actually living a life of choice. So living a life of choice, it's a lot more than deciding that I'm choosing this or that. It's actually It means to take full responsibility and own the decisions that you are having every single moment of the day, not just here and there.
Yeah, oh my goodness, Mariana, I think that's huge, because I think from moving from believing that you don't have a choice to moving to taking responsibility, there's a huge road, bridge, right, that we have to cross, because it's not easy to go like, okay, now I'm going to take full responsibility for everything I decide and say and think and feel.
And when I heard that at the beginning, I was like, oh my goodness, that was really kind of in a way awakening, because at the end of the day, every single one of us is able to choose to work where we want, to do what we want. But it does come with responsibility, and it means having the freedom to choose without the fear of being judged and without the fear of being criticized. It means you own all the decisions that you make, either good or bad. Whatever decisions you make, you gotta accept it and own it. And it means if you feel overwhelmed, it kind of, you brought that, you gotta own that, because you brought that by the way you were thinking. If you're feeling stressed, you gotta own that, because you made that, you brought that by the way. If you overcommit yourself, you gotta own that, because you've done it. So it's really, it comes down to the choices and the decisions that we make, and that's what it means, living a life by choice. Yes.
It's very empowering and at the same time scary.
Well, I think you hit the point there. It is, because taking responsibility for absolutely everything, it is empowering, and it can be scary, because I mean, being in a 9-to-5 job, you don't have to worry about anything else. You go to work, you come, whatever you do, it is. But working for yourself and doing things outside the norms, then is no one else to tell you what to do, unless you take responsibilities for all the decisions that you make and you own that. That's not going to happen. And that's what I'm hearing with some of my clients, because they want to have freedom to do what they want when they want. They are not taking full responsibility for the decisions that they are making in their life. And that sometimes can be conflict within themselves, and they are not getting the results that they want because of that. Because our choices determine our experiences, and we must be willing to take full responsibility. To become the person that we want to become.
Yes, I think, and I can talk from my experience in the past and how I used to think and feel, like it was easier to make somebody else responsible for what hadn't worked in my life yet, but I wasn't willing to take on the decisions that I needed to make, I wasn't willing to make that the extra work, let's say, to get to where I wanted to get. And I guess that in a way, when we have to when we feel that we have to follow a path that has been drawn for us, then we can use that as an excuse as well,
Definitely. Definitely. And every single one of us has been given the power to create our experience and our choices. And it's up to us. What do we believe? What do we want to create? What are we placing our responsibility on us, or are we placing responsibility outside us? Because if we place responsibility outside us, then we're not taking responsibility. Then you don't really have the power to choose then, because you are not taking the responsibility. And it can be a bit confronting sometimes to some people, because it's like, oh, you can't have the cake and eat it too sometimes,
Yes.
You really, either you fall in and you take responsibility and you live the life of choice, or you not.
Yes. I think this is such a huge topic because like I can see this also in my clients. Not everybody is looking for reclaiming their sovereignty, feeling in their power, feeling that they are them. Yet that comes with breaking all those habits, let's say, of following everybody else or following what somebody told us to do, and of making ourselves responsible for everything. So Mariana, talking a little bit about this, I would love to ask you about values, because I know values are key also in this path of living a life of our choice. So what are values and why are they important? Why do we need to be aware of them?
Oh, wow. Values are important because our values are a compass. Our values, it's what's important to every single one of us. Our values are the thing that we appreciate and love, and the feelings that we have. And at the end of the day, every single one of us wants to feel love and to feel like they matter and to feel like they are giving back and they giving value. So our values determine the quality of our lives, and it determines the decisions that we make. And they are really important, and most people don't know what they value.
Yeah. And so how can we work that out?
Well, you gotta ask yourself, what is actually important? Because most people don't even ask. Most people know what they don't like. That's what I'm finding with most of my clients. They can easily talk about what they don't like or what is not working in their life, but they don't necessarily know what they really want deep down and what is important to them. And because values is forms a filter that influences us, what we focus on, and influences our decisions, then it's important to know how are you making decisions? What choices do you make? What are you basing the decisions that you make on? Is that moving you forward? Is that taking where you really want? Because your values will determine your destiny. And some people, they just don't know. And values and beliefs at the end of the day were kind of instilled in us. And if our parents believe something and they value something, we think that we gotta value that because we've been conditioned through generations upon generations to believe whatever they believe and value what they value. And our parents kind of influence us and guide us in the direction that they think we gotta go. And sometimes we can actually have conflict within ourselves. And I find that with some of my clients, especially that they come from a culture that education is really important, and it's instilled in them that you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be an engineer, because that's what society sees as being important, because it gives you significance in those kind of in those professions, and they think that that's the only way to be respected, to feel like you are someone in a society. And because of the conditioning, some people do follow what their parents' guidance, and they realize later on down the track that it's not actually what they want. But because they've been doing that for 20 years, sometimes can be challenging to change and go and follow your dreams. And they sometimes do it and sometimes they don't do it. And that's why there is this cognitive dissonance, because they're not really following what they want themselves, they're following someone else. So within them, it's like they feel like they are dying inside because they're not necessarily doing what they want.
Yeah, this is such a huge thing nowadays, I feel, in terms of we are all learning or bringing more awareness, or looking for that feeling of fulfillment and of knowing that we're living a life on purpose or in purpose, you know.
So knowing your value
Yeah.
will help us, definitely. So living on purpose, yes, but you gotta know what you value. What are you going for? What's important to you? To really know your purpose. And every single one of us has a purpose. And knowing what you stand for will determine the quality of your life, the decisions that will shape your destiny, that the decisions that you make on a daily basis at the end of the day, the experiences that you have, the people that you attract in your life. So it's really important to know, what do you stand for? What do you value? What's important to you? Because every single one of us value different things. And depending what was instilled in you, you know, some people may rebel against their parents, and some people go with the flow and do what they've been told because that's all they know.
Yes, I find that talking about values and asking people about values, bringing awareness to that, can be a little bit challenging because and confronting, as you were saying, because it's like, oh, I actually don't know, you know. How many people would be like, I have no idea what I value, and it can be a little bit of a painful process to work it out, but at the same time, it's very rewarding. And once you know what you value, it's kind of impossible not to follow through. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Well said. It is, and yes, if you know what you value and what you really want to go for at the core, yes, you most likely you will follow through and you see it to the end. And time kind of does not exist if you do what you value. It's not work because you love to do, and you put in the effort and you inspire to follow through. And we are talking a huge difference between knowing and following what you value and not knowing where you're going.
Yes. So it's kind of like a process, right?
Yeah, there is a process that I take my clients through a set of different questions, and slowly, and value, at the end of the day, value determines the results or the non-results that we are getting. Because someone that doesn't value wealth, they are not going to be wealthy. And even if they try to, that may not necessarily work for them because they don't value wealth. Some people may value education, and that's important to them. That doesn't mean that they're going to be wealthy, because they investing in education and other things. They're not necessarily investing things that are going to create wealth. So that's why it's important, and we can change our values and we can align our values to what we truly want. But we gotta know that at the end of the day, that's what comes down to.